Welcome back to the Eat Your Greens with Dr. Black podcast. I'm a board-certified pediatrician and lifestyle medicine doctor, and I created this podcast because I'm passionate about helping people, just like you, take charge of your health through simple, evidence-based nutrition and lifestyle changes. If you're taking the time to listen to this podcast, you're the kind of person who cares about your health, who wants to make informed choices about food and is looking for practical ways to feel your best without the frustration or guesswork. But I know life gets busy. I'm right there with you, and it's not always easy to prioritize your health. I want you to know that I'm on your side, and I'm here to show you that it is possible and it doesn't have to be complicated. If you've listened to other episodes of Eat Your Greens, you know how often I talk about fiber, with good reason. Sadly, most Americans are only getting about half of the fiber that they need every day, and I'm talking about half of the minimum recommended amount of fiber. And the consequences of this are more than just a little constipation. Low-fiber diets are linked to rising rates of colon cancer in young adults and a higher risk of type 2 diabetes, among other things. But before you panic and start mainlining bowls of bran, let's talk about how to increase fiber naturally and painlessly without those uncomfortable and sometimes embarrassing side effects. You're not alone in this. Let's make fiber work for you and not against you. To start, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of starting low and going slow. If you're new to a high-fiber diet, I want you to gradually increase that fiber intake over a few weeks or even months to allow your gut to adjust. If you go too fast and notice that you've got stomach aches, bloating, and more gas, just cut back to the previous level that you tolerated and try going a little slower. Don't give up. Jumping from a low-fiber to a high-fiber diet overnight can cause a lot of trouble. But that doesn't mean that you're permanently intolerant to fiber. You just need to slow your roll. To keep those barking spiders away, try the following tricks. Start out with foods that have more soluble fiber. Do you remember the difference between soluble and insoluble fiber from my previous episode? Insoluble fiber, by definition, does not dissolve in water, and it's really good for constipation, but it's also a lot more gas-producing. Soluble fiber, on the other hand, does dissolve in water, and it forms a gel-like consistency. It not only helps to lower your cholesterol, but it can improve your blood sugar control and support a healthy immune system, just to name a few of the benefits. It's also much easier to tolerate. Go back and listen to my previous fiber episodes for the full list of health benefits of getting fiber in your diet. Some of the best foods for soluble fiber include oats, seeds like flax and chia, berries, and avocados. A berry chia pudding is an easy and delicious way to get more fiber into your kids' diet as well. Another way to boost soluble fiber is to just add more cooked vegetables to your meals. Things like a side of carrots or zucchini to your dinner. You can mix in some spinach to whatever you're cooking, or my favorite, add some sweet potatoes to your meals. You're not only getting extra fiber with those, but a ton of antioxidants. You can also just double the veggies in stir fries or soup, or add shredded carrots and zucchini to muffins. And last, try swapping out white rice with cauliflower rice. Super easy way to get more of that soluble fiber. Another way to reduce unwanted side effects from fiber is to use ground or blended foods, which are easier to digest. So consider starting with things like refried beans instead of whole beans, nut butters instead of whole nuts, and of course, smoothies are a great way to get extra fruit and greens into your diet. I personally make my smoothie with a base of greens and a variety of berries, and then I add in flaxseed, chia, and wheat germ to boost fiber, omegas, and other great nutrients. The second strategy for boosting your fiber intake is to choose whole grains over refined grains. Swap out white rice, white bread, and pasta with a fiber-rich option like 100% whole grain or sprouted grain bread, brown rice or quinoa, and whole wheat or chickpea or lentil-based pasta. Now, be sure to read the label, especially on bread and other baked snacks. If the front of the package says made with whole wheat, but the first ingredient is enriched flour, don't be fooled. Make sure that whole wheat or other whole grains are in the first 3 ingredients on the list. Another trick is to multiply the grams of fiber on the label by 10. If the resulting number is less than the number of carbs per serving, it's not a high fiber product, regardless of what the front of the package might say. Now, this can be a big change for some people, and to help you get used to the change in texture and flavor of whole grains versus the ones you're used to, try starting out with a 50-50 mix. For example, you can use half white rice and half brown rice, or when baking, use half all-purpose flour and half whole wheat or oat flour. Over time, you can gradually change that ratio to boost the whole grain product over the refined grain product. I'm not much of a baker, but when I do make something like banana bread, I do this trick where I do half and half whole grain, whole wheat, and white flour, and you still get a nice fluffy texture. It's not too dense, but you can add in extra fiber. The next hack I want to share is to get your day started with a healthier, fiber-rich breakfast. Did you know that eating more carbs first thing in the morning actually can help you wake up faster, and it helps to set your circadian clock so you'll fall asleep easier at night? But if you go with those refined carbs and sugar, you're going to end up with a spike in blood sugar and that inevitable crash that follows. Who else is hungry by 10 a.m. when you eat a high-carb breakfast? Using foods with more soluble fiber will help slow your digestion, and that's going to help you feel full longer and blunt that quick spike in blood sugar that can lead to diabetes. So instead of those usual sugary, refined carb, pastries and cereals, or equally unhealthy, high-fat bacon and egg breakfasts that many Americans like to eat, start out by adding in less processed and fiber-rich options. For example, oatmeal, super fast and easy. Throw in some berries and you have a fast and delicious option. You can also add in things like nuts or seeds for an added boost. Another simple swap is to just go with a whole grain bread for a quick avocado toast or spread on some peanut butter and sliced banana. This is one of my favorite fast breakfasts when I just need to get out the door in a hurry. And I recently learned about an alternate version of yogurt parfait that uses a cinnamon-spiced quinoa as the base and tops it with a chia pudding. And I am obsessed with this. I've been making it every week since I learned about it. I'll make a big pot on the weekend, and then I have a quick and delicious breakfast that's just ready for the rest of the week. Another thing I talk about a lot is the importance of beans or legumes on my podcast episodes. There is clear science to support the health benefits of these foods, and if you eat some kind of legume every day, you will live longer, and that's supported by science. So as I mentioned before, it's easier to digest blended fiber, and a good way to boost fiber in meals is just to blend in home-cooked or canned beans. To get the fiber without the fireworks, soak those beans overnight and then rinse them thoroughly before cooking, or when using canned beans, drain them and rinse them really well. Blending white beans into things like soup or sauce is a great way to make it more creamy without the saturated fat that goes with the actual cream. You can also just blend beans and lentils into things like spaghetti sauce. This not only adds fiber, but also protein. Lentils are an easy-to-digest legume, and they cook up really quickly. They can be used to bulk up things like taco filling or pasta sauce, and can even be added into ground meat for things like burgers or meatloaf. This not only adds the fiber and vitamins, but it can also cut your grocery bill by helping you cut back on the amount of expensive meat you need to buy. The easiest to digest legumes include lentils and split peas, and once you're used to those, move on up to things like pinto beans, black beans, and chickpeas. Once you're tolerating more fiber, add in kidney and navy beans, which tend to be the gassiest of the beans. Interestingly, there are some herbs and spices that can help reduce gas and bloating. Things like cumin, fennel, and bay leaf, and also something that's used a lot where I live, epazote. These are known to prevent the more, shall we say, musical side effects associated with eating beans. The final tip for increasing fiber may even be the most important one when it comes to your overall health, and that is to optimize your snacks. Ditch those ultra-processed snacks that are loaded with extra fat, sugar, and salt and pretty much devoid of any fiber. Choose things like good old-fashioned popcorn. Watch the salt and the fat added to it, but popcorn is actually considered a whole grain, and it's great as a quick and cheap snack to add fiber to your diet. Also, trail mix. You can buy it pre-made, or it's super easy to make your own. Add in a variety of nuts, some dried fruit and seeds, and even some dark chocolate. Go back and listen to my episode all about the health benefits of chocolate. Yes, I am giving you permission to eat chocolate. Did you know it actually has soluble fiber? Sounds like a win to me. Get the kids involved with making things like protein balls with oats and nut butter, homemade granola bars, or fruit leather. I'll put a link in the show notes for some fun kid-friendly recipes. Another classic snack is just hummus with some veggie sticks. And the easiest snack of all, just eat some fresh fruit. Be sure to leave the skin on. All right, to summarize some of the main points I've made today, in order to easily increase the fiber in your diet, while at the same time minimizing the unwanted side effects, start by choosing foods with more soluble fiber rather than insoluble, and go low and slow. Gradually add in those fiber-rich foods. Don't overdo it. Some key tips for easing digestion include soaking and rinsing your beans before you cook them, cooking veggies until they're soft to make the fiber easier to digest, and pairing fiber with healthy fats. Things like avocado, olive oil, or nuts help to support your digestion. Some easy ways to bump your fiber up include adding sides of cooked veggies or just doubling up veggies in the recipes you already love, and making sure your breakfast and snacks are full of healthy, fiber-rich foods. Fiber is a powerhouse for your health. It supports your heart, helps to regulate your blood sugar, and even protects against diseases like colon cancer. And the best part? You don't have to overhaul your diet overnight or suffer through bloating to get the benefits. By making small, gradual changes like choosing whole grains, adding a sprinkle of flax seeds and wheat germ to your meals, or just eating more fruit, you can easily increase your fiber intake without discomfort. Remember, you're part of a community that's committed to making healthier choices one step at a time. So start where you are. Make one simple swap this week and keep building from there. Your body will thank you. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to eat your greens. Please be aware that this podcast provides general health information about nutrition and feeding of infants and children and is meant for educational purposes only. It's not intended to replace the important relationship between a parent, child, and pediatrician. If you have concerns about your child's nutrition, health, or growth, please consult your doctor.